Hello everyone, Fru here. Welcome to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about writing. We're going to be talking about professional level writing in a way that is really beautiful. And if you are going to produce content, especially of the written form of a high caliber, whether we're talking about working on a white paper or a research paper or a thesis you've thought about that is new or novel, you want to put it out to the world, and how you put that in writing form. Whether you're talking about elevating your resume and making it look really beautiful so you can stand out and get the job you're going after, you want to make sure that the content is great, but also the presentation of it is even better, right? They say don't judge a book by its cover, but this day and age, the way you format your resume and how you format what you put out there, it's has an impact. Or you might just have some amazing idea, a novel or a book or a story you want to tell, and you want to write that. How you go about writing that in a way that is looks professional and people are going to take you seriously when your work goes out into the world. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, I really highly recommend you do. We're looking at growing the channel, and every subscription we get counts. What it simply does is it tells the YouTube algorithm that you love what we're putting out, and that's really great for everybody. So win-win. And also, if you have any topics before we go into this that you want me to make a video on, or you want to get my opinion about, you can chime in and set the direction of this channel. So let me know in the comment section below, or direct message me and say, hey Fro, what are your opinions about this? Can you make a video about so and so? And I'll see what I can do. So that said, let's dive right into talking about writing. Now, as some of the folks on the channel might know, I am an author. I do have a book on published on Amazon, talking about a game plan. I'm really a big fan of game plans and strategies to elevate your career. So this book is a game plan to get into data analytics, and I wrote this maybe about 5 or so years ago. At least that's when the initial writing started. It took about maybe a year or two for me to get my hand of just getting into the weeds of writing a book and publishing that and formatting, and a lot of things that goes into thinking about writing a book. I would highly recommend, not just for your sake of your career, but you're gonna learn a lot if you go down that journey. Number one, you have to know what to write about, and then number two, just that entire process and industry, I think, is a very fascinating piece. So my book is available on Amazon. This is not a cheap plug. If you want to support the channel, you can grab the book. The strategies there are a little bit elementary for people looking to get into data analytics. That was really the folks my book went after. um, and the book is self-published on Amazon. And if you want me to make a video about that entire process, I'm more than happy to do that. Now, as you can imagine, a book that is about 3 or 4 or 5 or however old it is now, it's getting time for an update. I've been thinking about going back in and updating the book and what the content in the book. So you can go in here, we talk about the game plan, and tons of resources there. It's a very nicely formatted book, but it was a lot of effort, at least from my perspective, just to make that formatting work. Not the writing side. The writing is pretty basic. You can go into Microsoft Word and do great writing. You can go into Google Docs and do great writing. You can even open up Notepad on your machine and do great writing. A lot of my writing, I do them on Google Docs, and but once you're done with it, to make that formatting look really good was a challenge, and that's where the product called LaTeX comes into play, which we're gonna see. But before we look at LaTeX, in addition to writing uh, a book, if you're not inclined to write an entire book and publish that, one of the things that I also do as a technologist is I consume a ton of papers, as research papers. It could even be white papers or just anything happening in the industry. So here is one. It's a little bit of an older one. I think I had come across somewhere. You can see the formatting really good. There's a table of contents, introduction, images, and everything looks amazing. So if you want to put on a paper of this caliber, I can promise you that Microsoft Word or just basic run of your mill Google Docs or whatever it is you're using might not get you there, right? So then what? Let's look at another example here. You can see this one is a paper published in a journal. I'm not sure what journal that one was. There is abstract. There is this is Yoshua Benjo, who is very popular in the machine learning space. There's good abstract. The formatting looks pretty consistent. Equations are all written in a very nice format. I couldn't even imagine trying to write something like this in Google Docs. You could do it. No, I don't think it's impossible to do anything these days. But is that the best way, the most efficient way to do it? That would be the question. So this is another paper. There's the old MapReduce paper. I have different versions of MapReduce papers. This one is actually formatted like a book, but you can see how clean it's formatted with the table of content, and the writing is there. Everything is consistent, good indentation, and it's pretty cool. This one is about, it's a book actually, it's an entire book, but the formatting is really cool. Let's look at one last one, the Snowflake sigmoid paper. Again, a classic paper in the industry talking about the architecture of Snowflake. I just love the formatting. A code can be inserted, and the formatting looks even well. So not just are we looking at equations and math, being able to format that, but code too. If you're gonna write a paper about coding or about Python or whatever it is you want to write a paper about, having that formatting look really well, um, is a big plus. And not to talk about references. How do you automatically generate your list of references? Or let's go up. How do you automatically insert? This doesn't have a table of content. Let's get one that has a table of content. How do you automatically insert a table of content? So as you write new sections, your table of content comes up automatically, and your numbering of images or of figures that you put in. So let's find one. So this one has a figure 3. If you insert a figure above this, let's say figure 2, some new figure above this, now this needs to automatically change to figure 4. Well, if you've tried writing where you manually have to write your figures by hand, you know that it just becomes a nightmare to go in and make sure your numberings are all updated, page numberings are correct. I've done it, and it's one of those things that makes you lose a lot of hair on your head pretty quickly, and that's coming from somebody who doesn't have a lot on their head. All right, just to give you a picture. All right. So this is the challenge. Now, what is the solution that is very common? The solution is LaTeX. LaTeX, and it's called LaTeX, pronounced LaTeX, even though the spelling is with an X, right? But what I've heard people pronounce it is LaTeX, so I assume that that's the correct way of pronouncing it. So LaTeX is a free software that allows you to write papers, especially when you're writing high caliber papers you're gonna publish in a magazine or in a journal, or if you just want quality with your work that you put out there, you will want to look at LaTeX. But like any open source tool, LaTeX is open source. We know that it's open source for a reason. People put in great effort, but the interface to it might not be as friendly as if you just want to work with Google Docs, right? And that's the drawback with we tend to see with open source things. So you can come in here if you really want to be ambitious, download Mac Tech. If you're working with Mac, or get Mac Windows, whatever it is, you can work with that. But the piece that we want to show here is the online pieces. And 3 4 5 years ago, when I started trying to get into LaTeX, or even when I was in undergraduate, because LaTeX has been around for a while, I remember I did a thesis, and it was just really difficult to make it work in Microsoft Word, and with equations and all of that. And LaTeX at the time was coming up, but the learning curve there was just too high for me, and I just could not really get the patience to understanding at that point to install it and get through all of what you needed to do. But things have changed. Things have drastically changed. So there is a bunch of online options here. If you want to try them out, if you have any paper you want to work, I would really recommend you check out LaTeX. Now, the one in particular is Open Overleaf. I haven't tried the Paparia or some of the other ones, but Overleaf is something that I've tried really quickly, and it's just a no brainer. I love it, and I could see myself using this a lot going to the future. So here is Openleaf. It's just a web-based version. So instead of you having to download the version to install on your Mac and struggle with that, Overleaf just makes that really easy. So you come in, it gives you a web version of LaTeX, and there are a couple of things that make it amazing. It's almost like why you see week, right? Not exactly what you see is what you get, but as you make your changes, you can easily recompile and see what it looks like in your final document, right? People sometimes don't like LaTeX because they believe, oh, you have to write code, and I'm not a coder, and so why would I have to do LaTeX? Just that's not the case. I think that's very, very misleading if that's your perception of what LaTeX is. So Overleaf is what we're going to look at. You can see a lot of institutions will definitely be using it, Overleaf. And if you're going to be publishing papers like we've seen, um, think about LaTeX. So let's dive right in. Let's log in, and this is what LaTeX looks like. You can come in. I'm not gonna do an entire demo of this. I'll just give you a quick idea. My goal here is not to teach you LaTeX, the formatting of LaTeX. There are books that you can go and or just Google around how to write LaTeX. You have great content. My goal is just to surface Overleaf to you and say, hey, I'll consider putting this as something in my tool belt. So if I have a paper to write, or something to put out to the world, or even my resume needs some formatting, you might want to consider LaTeX with Overleaf. So Overleaf, you come in, you log in, you have an account. There is some pricing there, so of course, these folks have to make money. I don't think this is charity here they're doing. So one of the things you can do is you can come into templates and you can browse templates. So there are, and I really love this. There are lots of templates out there. Depending on what you're trying to do, you can just simply come in and look for templates. So let's look for CV. Let's say I was working on my resume and I wanted to update my resume, or you wanted to update your resume. You can come in here and you can see different templates. This one stands out to me for some reason. And let's say, because you want a resume that stands out and somebody looks at it and says, that's a little bit different, right? You don't want, I think depending on what you're trying to do, there's a place for having the classic conservative resume, pretty straightforward. And then there is times where you might just want to make it so that somebody picks up your resume, they're gonna want to call you back and say, how the hell did you, excuse my French there, how did you make this work? So once you click on that template, you can open it up, and here now you have the content to your right, with great formatting, and then to the left is where you do your writing. So you do your writing here, and the formatting goes up to the left. So let's say I wanted to make this resume about through. Uh, if I wanted to update my resume, I'm gonna go ahead and do through, and you can put in a lot of the details, right? If you want to put the email, you can put the email to be through tech. So just go down through, update the different things that you need to update here, and as you do your update, you can recompile, and what you see is what you wrote here on the right side, on the left side, is going to show up on the right side with great formatting. And if you go through this, you edit this, put in an image. So there should be a place here for an image somewhere. If you look for that, there will be an image, and one of the things you can do too is just click on that and say, hey, give me the tip on where it is on the left side. So a lot of things that you can do, but I'm not going to go into working on the resume here, but just to give you an idea of the formatting. Now once you're done, this is PDF in a very nice format. You can download the PDF, you can share it with somebody, and that's really a great way for sharing files, right? So resume is one thing, but let's say you're not working on a resume. You're good. The job where you work at today is perfect, and you want something else. So let's go back here into templates. Let's say we were working on an academic journal. We wanted to write a report, or a thesis, or some experiments we're running from machine learning, and that needs to be published into a journal, right? There are specific formats that journals will accept, or if you're writing an academic paper, there are specific formats that you have to adhere to. So pick the format that makes sense to you. You can just browse through the templates here, assuming that let's say this one looks uh pretty traditional. So I'm gonna go ahead, open this template, and just like that, you have a template ready for you to use. And this was created by Michael Shaw. And you can see this looks like an academic paper with split rows, or split columns, and good grabs, math, all of that included in here. All right. And again, the way you edit that is you just go into the left side, finding the section that you're working with and making that edit. So here I want to work on this citing previous work. Uh, I can go back here and find this location here, and we can begin making the edit. So citing previous work. So change the content here, and now that content is changed here for you very beautifully, right? Again, imagine trying to open up a blank Microsoft Word document or a blank Google Docs and thinking about creating something like this. It's tough. It's really tough to pull that off. So LaTeX would be a great solution for that. Let's look at one last template here, which is the one of a book. So let's say you wanted to write a book. You're not just wanting to write scientific papers. I will come in there, look for a template, and I browsed around. I saw this one, science textbook. You maybe want to teach folks about Python. You want to teach folks about Snowflake. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about not just updating my book, your game plan, and that's the whole reason that got me here. Started with this is I want to update this book, your game plan, with some new tips and tricks. I think things have changed so much this day in age. The cloud has really come to its own. Data is really winning, and there are things that strategies that folks should be thinking about, especially if you want to get in, you want to elevate your career, you want to make some moves. And I've been really thinking about synthesizing my strategies into a book, and potentially updating your game plan. So that's why I'm looking at this. I've also been thinking about consultants, how to be a consultant, how to be a strategic salesperson, an engineer, and how you go about making a career out of that, from breaking in, looking for a job, managing customers, managing relationships, and just being an overall rock star in that space. I've been thinking about putting a book in that area. There are many ideas that I've just had, and part of the friction too sometimes is, well, how am I gonna get the book out? All right. But with something like LaTeX, you can have a framework to get started. That barrier really doesn't need to be there, right? You don't need to wait on the publishers or the O'Reillys of the world. You can write your own book and self-publish that really quick on Amazon and become an author with the authority that comes with that, right? Author authority with the authority that comes with that. So here we're gonna look at this science textbook template. And the reason why I like this is it's not just a scientific paper format. It's formatted as a book. Again, equations if you want to put equations, formulas if you want to put formulas, and it's the pages are odd number, even number, indented. So meaning this is ready for print as a book. That's why you see this page, because this is a margin that would be binded up, has a space right on this side. This will be the left side of the margin binded up. If you think about the book, the opposite sides, the pages are the margin has to be bigger, because it goes that this left side goes into the margin, this side goes into the margin, and it's all get bounded up. So this is already formatted in the format of a book, right? If you think about print book publishing, there are specifications in terms of how you format that, and this gives you the building block. Guess what's missing in this? There's everything in here, everything, all the layout, the pages, biography, even all the way to the index. If you had index in your book, everything exists within this template. The only thing missing are your ideas. The only thing missing is your imagination. The only thing missing is the concept you want to share with the world, right? And you can go in and fill in the blanks, and all of a sudden you have a book, right? Imagine if you were writing maybe a topic per day, a chapter per day, or per week, or per month, right? A chapter per month. 1 month, you just pick a chapter and you can write 5 pages or 10 pages on that chapter per month. You get 10 pages out. In a year's time, you can have a book with 120 pages ready for publish. And if you're writing in here, all you need to do is just recompile it, download it. Now you have a PDF that you can share, self-publish it, upload it to Amazon, KDP, and you become an author. So this really makes it that easy. Now, the formatting here is not a lot. Like if you come in, just find the author, uh, it's the template has been built for you already. So I would just be using the template and making changes as I go. So if I came in back up here, and you can see science textbook, and it has the first edition, it has the author name, and author name is coming from here. So if I wanted to replace that with my name, let's just assume that I wrote this, and I recompile that, you would see that recompiling, and it would throw in your author name there. You can put in your city, your country, your title, and if it uses at symbol, it's going to be referencing previous variables. And then you just come in, what is the description you're trying to put, right? You just put that in there, the theory of relativity, blah blah blah, you put that in. And what this template does is it uses fake data. So here it's just generating a bunch of fake sections. So all the sections that you see uh, are just fake sections that have been generated, but the numbering is all correct. So if you wanted to rewrite the introductions, so let's find the introductions. So this is just all consistent fake data, right? So this is not actual writing. Everything is the theory of relativity. The theory of relativity is just generating fake data. So you can now come in here and fold off your sleeves and begin writing this section. All right. If I don't want this to be a fake section anymore, and I actually wanted to write something there, now I can go ahead and say, hey, uh, Python is it, right? You have to learn Python and Snowpack as an example, which is Python on Snowflake. And if I think I hope my syntax is correct. If I recompile that, uh, there you go. I don't think I like that. Let's do, and let's recompile that. So there you go. Now we've got chapter one, right? And you can put in all the details of chapter one, fill in the blanks here, put in your own story, put in your own ideas, tell something compelling. And the formatting is beautiful. If you send this to somebody, they're gonna take you seriously, assuming you have great content and the formatting looks this good. That's really a plus, right? So this just makes it beautiful. Some of the other things you can do too that I haven't really played with very much is they seem to have functions around history. I believe history kind of tells you who made changes to the book. I'm gonna play with this a little bit more. I haven't spent a lot of time there. There is submit where you can and I really shouldn't do that. I'm not gonna submit this, where you can submit this to a template. You can save, let's say you create your own amazing template, you want it available and searchable. You can submit your template, or you can submit this to journals, right? So let's say you were writing for IEEE, the IEEE journal, or the ACM, or whatever journal it is you're writing for. I believe not all of them are listed here, but the ones that are listed here, you can definitely go and directly submit your paper to them. I'm just taking a look. Springer is here too as well. Mathematical biology. So tons of journals are here. Um, or you can do the submit that to F1000 research, right? I haven't done anything with them, but this just gives you an easy way to directly submit your paper. How amazing is that? And then if let's say you're collaborating on this with somebody else and they have to do reviews, you can just grab a link. And I really love this. Turn on sharing, copy the link to this, and you can share this with somebody who can make an edit, or you can share this with somebody that can view, or you can directly add their email, and they would be able to come in and collaborate with you and do the editing, right? And then review, I haven't checked that one out, but it's pretty cool. And then what this chat might be talking with. Oh, so yeah, send a message to collaborators. I guess if we're collaborating on this document, I can chat to say, hey, Fru, really excited, and I'm writing below there, excited about this paper, right? We can write a message, and other collaborators can hopefully see that message. If I hit enter, my message is there. Now the next person comes in, they can leave a message, and that collaboration is there. So a very very capable product, and this is something that as technologists we might not even pay attention to. But guess what? We live in a world of collaboration. We live in a world of people getting their ideas out there. And the more you have your ideas, the more you can put the ideas out there in a way that's beautiful. The more you elevate your game, you gain your thought leadership experience, you gain status and credibility in the industry. That does wonders for not just learning and development of yourself as a person or as a technologist, but guess what? It also does wonders for your career. People take you seriously. You get to share your thoughts. You get to have influence. People get to reach your work in a way that looks credible, in a way that looks professional. And LaTeX and that formatting is something that you definitely want to consider. Have it in your tool belt. Spend some time, spend a weekend, and just get familiar with LaTeX and have it as a tool. You never know when you're going to be called upon to write a paper or to share an idea. And having this as an option, I think it's a great plus. If for some reason you don't like the simplicity of something like Overleaf and you want to go hardcore mode and just download the actual LaTeX distribution and run it locally, you're more than welcome to do that. But as technology professionals, just having this in your tool belt, I think is net gonna be a net positive result for you than someone who doesn't have that. So check it out, and hopefully this was a helpful exposition to everyone. Again, thank you for watching to the end. I think that brings us to the end of our presentation here, looking at LaTeX, writing scientific papers, writing academic papers, or sharing your ideas as a professional. If you love this, give it a like, share this with somebody that might get value out of it. Leave a comment below. More than happy. Always love reading your comments. And as always, you have been very awesome watching to the end. I have been through. I will see you in the next lecture.